Now we know Dallas is booming, with the economy is booming, the housing market, the amazing top-notch schools. That's just some of the things that are attracting so many people to Dallas. But don't be fooled, because there are some things that are absolutely horrible about Dallas that I'm going to talk about in this video. Hey guys, my name is Shanza and you're watching the Life in Dallas channel, where we talk about all things living in the Dallas metro, and I am a real estate agent, so if you guys have any questions and concerns, buying and selling needs, you can always contact me through my contacts down in the description box below. You can also follow me on social media and contact me however, and definitely reach out to me, you guys. I'm going to be more than willing to help you guys. If you are moving here from another state, you need to be aware of these things, because the things that I'm going to talk about in this video were addressed from residents that have recently moved and myself as well. So let's get started. So the first thing, the fact that it's so flat. Now if you are somebody who's coming from the coast like California, Florida, they're used to the beach, they love the views. Here you gonna get none of that. You're probably gonna get flat land. But we do make the most of what we have, which is lakes. We have a bunch of parks. We have a lot of open land for sports, parks, rec centers. We have like sports fields outside. We're literally like sports fiends here, except for me, because I hate sports. I play sports, but I don't like watching other people play. So yeah, we have like a lot of forests, parks, lakes, but we don't have like rolling hills, and we don't got beaches, so that's like a con. So that's personally what I hate too. Like I would love to see a lot of hills and stuff, but you know, guess what, we're not all blessed like that. Number two, it is really hot. I've been living in Texas for a majority of my life, and I can never get over the heat. Now typically in May, June, July, August are the hottest months. Now not all the months are like extremely hot. July and August, that's where the real heat comes. So temperature, we get heat waves around there. Temperatures probably stay like in the high hundreds for like a week or so. They're in the high 90s, okay, the mid high 90s, even the hundreds. We typically have like short winters and long summers, and then like a normal amount of springtime. I feel like the spring is too short, it needs to be a little longer, but yeah, like we still have all 4 seasons. It still snows in Texas. If you guys haven't like heard about that snowstorm that happened, I think it was like 2 years ago or so, that was unprecedented. That never happened in like history of Texas, I believe. I blame that all on global warming. Okay, we don't know what's to come next. Maybe in 2 years we'll have another snowstorm like that. But yeah, sometimes it does snow here in Dallas. Dallas is a couple degrees cooler than like the Austin, Houston area, so sometimes it'll snow here and it won't snow down there. But typically, you know, it'll probably snow one year, the next year might not snow, the third year might snow like 3 inches or so. And just know that when it snows even like half a centimeter, everything is closed. All the schools are closed. If it gets worse, like some stores would close too, because it's so dangerous to drive on ice. Like we can barely even drive in rain, let alone ice. And speaking of weather, I just want to add this in there, that a lot of times people think that we have tornadoes here. Yeah, we actually do have tornadoes here, but the thing is, like, a lot of times they're not really damaging. I know that sometimes we'll have like a tornado that'll probably come like on like the west side, and it wouldn't, like, it would be like just rural land, so it would just kind of go by. And sometimes one year we'll have like a tornado that causes some damage, but it's not as crucial as people think. I've lived here in the Dallas specifically for 7 years now, and then I've lived in Texas for literally all my life, and I have never ever been affected by a tornado, except for one time where like our family's roof got kind of messed up because of the heavy winds. But other than that, like heavy winds and hail, but other than that, we never had a problem. So literally like 90% of the time it doesn't cause any damage. So, but you still need to be aware that we do have tornado warnings and things of that nature. Okay, so the third thing was tornadoes. The fourth thing is property taxes, because here in the Dallas area, property taxes range from the high 1.8% to over 3% in certain areas. So yeah, property taxes are high, but you still have to keep in mind that we have no state income tax. Okay, we only have federal income tax, and that already saves you money. And the fact that Dallas is like no other, you guys, even when I go to Austin, even when I go to Houston, I see like a world of a difference. And I'm not just saying that because I love Dallas and I'm biased, but the roads are cleaner. The infrastructure is just much newer. They have like stricter zoning regulations here in the Dallas area versus like in Houston. If you are coming here, drive around Austin, drive around Houston. If you're trying to pick between the major metros, you'll see a clear difference in Dallas versus the other cities. And the property taxes are essentially going to your city. They're going to the roads that you're going to be driving to work on, or you're going to be driving on in general. They're going to be going to the amenities that you're going to be enjoying. They're going to be going to the schools that your children are going to get education from. So all in all, it makes sense. So many people have that concern, but when they actually come here and look like, oh, like the roads are very clean, there's no trash out there, you know, there's these new buildings around here, nothing old and crusty looking. So there are places that are kind of crusty looking, but no, overall, like if you're paying like a hefty tax bill, then trust me, that is going to go back to the community. And a lot of times when people live here and they kind of experience what it is living in some of these cities, they're okay with the property taxes. You know, if their children are safe, if they're happy, they're getting that quality education, you know, the roads are clean, everything's sleek, there's no trash and other issues that sometimes people may have, then they're okay with that. And on top of that, we also have the homestead exemption, and the homestead exemption applies to you if you have a primary residence. Homestead exemption can take up to 20% off your assessed value in which that you get taxed on. And on top of that, there's another saving that you get if you're 65 and older and disabled, and there's other criteria there as well. You can also do itemized tax deduction for your property taxes. If you are going that route, please consult a CPA. But, you know, there's ways around it, you guys. You can also protest your taxes. So when you get that assessed value in the mail, you can actually protest that. You can use a law firm. You can do it yourself as well. So that's also another option to save some property taxes. It's not as bad when you really come and live here and see the quality of life in your community and in your city. Number 5 is bugs. Now, we have a lot of land. And with a lot of land comes a lot of critters. I know fire ants, they're on a roll here. It's just so many fire ants everywhere. Really, my niece just got bit the other day by a bunch of fire ants, and they really, really sting, you guys. I mean, it's worse than freaking mosquito bites. You know, we have those. We have like June bugs that come around the June time. We have like other critters and spiders, a bunch of spiders. And if you're backed by a green belt, you're gonna get more of those. Now, if you're living in a community where there's like, it's really established and you have like a neighborhood, then you have plazas and you have streets right here, and you have like less parks and like a green belt or a lake, if you don't have that, then you're not gonna have to worry too much about like snakes and spiders and stuff. But for us, honey, we live near a lake, we live near a big green belt, and we get about everything, okay? Everything that you could possibly get, we get it. We even got a random cow roaming around the neighborhood, escaped one of like the farms, and it was just so crazy. Like, I personally was scared, but you know, the thing is, like, we get everything around here. In the summertime, especially the snakes really just come out. And like I mentioned, I live near a greenbelt, so there's snakes in everybody's neighborhood. But thankfully, we have a couple of snake handlers here. So they'll just like come to your house and they'll just grab the snake and take it away. And that's another thing, is that I just love the community. They're just so caring and they're so nice. But anyway, yeah, so be aware of critters. And majority of the times the snakes are not poisonous at all, but still they're snakes. Number 6 is the toll roads. Now, I kind of want to mix this in with the highway system. Even though our highway system is like really good compared to other metros, I get so much anxiety driving on some of these highways like near major cities, because like Fort Worth or Dallas, because there's just so many exits, so many lanes that you have to switch. Sometimes if you're on like the 3rd lane over, you're gonna be going into an exit, you can't even switch because there's so many cars coming by at fast speed. Another thing is people, they just love to drive fast, okay? So if you're driving the speed limit, everybody's gonna pass you over, okay? You need to be driving like at least 10 or above when you're on the highway. Even the cops are driving like 15, 20 miles above the speed limit. So, I mean, yeah, that's just how we are. Highways are very intricate, so if you're coming from a smaller city, then please drive around here so you can get a feel of it, especially if you're going to be driving to downtown or driving through one of these major highways a lot for whatever reason, so you can kind of get used to it. But other than that, I mean, every time I'm going somewhere for like 30-40 minutes, I have to go through Dallas or whatever, there's always like 1 or 2 exits that I always miss. Just know with any major metro you have that. If you're living out in the suburbs, doesn't really matter, but there are toll roads, and sometimes I don't know, if you're going to the airport, Dallas-Fort Worth Airport, you're gonna have to use the tollway. It's like they're forcing us to pay to use a road. I just hate toll roads, okay? I know that they're convenient for a lot of people. Sometimes they literally save you like 15-20 minutes. Sometimes it doesn't even make a difference. If you're using toll roads for a majority of the week, you're gonna spend like a couple $1,000s a year on those toll roads, even if you're using a toll tag. And with a toll tag, you actually save a little bit of money versus if you don't have a toll tag. So if you don't have a toll tag, you're going through the tolls, they're gonna send you your bill in the mail. I personally don't think that they should make us pay to go on toll roads. Like, come on. They're gonna start to charge us to breathe one day. I'm just not with the idea that we have to pay to drive on a road, you know what I'm saying? Number 7 is Texas is huge. So Dallas Metro is just so huge. You can literally, going from like one side of the metro to the other side of the metro will take you like over an hour, okay? And a lot of times people are not used to that because, especially if you're coming from like New York or something like that, 5 minutes you're at the park, walk another 5 minutes you're at the grocery store. But here you're literally gonna have to drive everywhere you go. The thing is that parking is much better than in New York, okay? There's a lot of parking here, but the thing is that you're gonna have to drive long distances. So typically now 30-minute drive to going somewhere is no big deal for me, okay? But before, like, I'll be like, oh my god, 30 minutes. Number 8 is allergies. Now, I've never had allergies a day in my life. In fact, I used to live in Central Texas and I never had allergies, and then I moved to Dallas and I started having so many allergies. It's so crazy. I had a runny nose, watery eyes, and I was like, okay, I'm getting sick, that's it. Went inside, was perfectly fine. Then went outside again, and then the whole thing started happening again when I realized that I have something called allergies, okay? So if you have allergies or if you don't have allergies, just be aware that you might get them when you come here. Benadryl is great. I'm not a doctor or anything. I always drink some tea or something like that, or sometimes I just ignore it and it just goes away, which is crazy how your mind works. So be aware that allergies are very much real here. Okay, like I said, I've never had them before, but past 6-7 years, I've been having allergies every springtime, so just keep that in mind. Number 9 is something that some people have addressed that it kind of threw them off, and that's people being too nice. Like here in Dallas, we go out and people just randomly just start talking to you, talking about their whole life story, or they call you honey and sugar, and they're really nice. And even if you're going to work or whatever the case is, people are gonna want to try to mingle with you and try to like know you and stuff. And a lot of times people are like introverted, and you know, obviously where they came from, they didn't have a lot of that, so they're moving to a completely different environment, which often helps them break out of their shell and become more extroverted. But the thing is that sometimes people don't like that. People don't like when people are just constantly talking to them, wanting to get to know them. Like they want to be kind of on their own. And what sometimes people will do is they'll probably think that you're kind of stuck up when you don't talk to them or when you don't give them the attention that they're giving you. This guy, like, he's a party pooper, like he doesn't even do anything, and that could be kind of like a turn off. It's the opposite for me because being in this environment, because Dallas is really different from where I used to live in Texas, in Central Texas, but people are just so nice, and really, like, I start randomly talking to people sometimes, and I would never do that before. Sometimes it can throw people off, okay? Walking down the street, someone's all talking to you, you know, talking about something, hey, how you doing, where do you live? And someone's like, why are they asking where I live? Are they trying to rob me or something like that? Sometimes people come from hostile environments and they're not used to that kind of stuff. So yeah, people are just too nice sometimes, and they're too much in your business sometimes as well, but not all the time. Number 10 is transportation is not as good. You have DART, which is like the Dallas transportation system, consisting of buses, the railway system. But the thing is that the more you spread out from like Dallas, the less and less options that you're gonna get, okay? So like Dallas, Addison, Irving, Carrollton, like those type of areas, they have a nice transportation system, okay? You can get to the airport really fast. You can get to the airport, you can get to downtown, you know, really easily. But when you start moving out to like Frisco, McKinney, and those areas, you really don't get much of that. For people that are used to public transportation, that's one con. Me and my brother used to take the bus to downtown, and he would go to his law school, I would go to my classes, and the thing was, it was just so convenient because we didn't have to like drive in the car and the traffic, then have to find a parking spot, and then you had to pay for parking. It was much cheaper with the public transportation system. But I personally would never do that again, especially being a young woman. If you're planning on using the public transportation system, please have some type of shank, some type of pepper spray or something on you to protect you, because I don't know, I just had some bad experiences with people over there. So I just really have to warn you guys. The 11th thing is Texas is very pro-gun. If you guys like shooting, like going to ranges, or if you guys like hunting, then you're really gonna like Texas, because literally just go and get a gun. And I know there's a whole political discussion about that, but I'm not gonna get political. So if you're somebody who's like highly against that, then that might be an issue for you. The gun culture is kind of embedded in the lifestyle of Texans. There's several places that don't even allow guns, and there's places that want you to conceal the gun if you do have it. Now, if you guys found any value in this video, please make sure to hit the like, hit the subscribe if you guys want more content like this, and make sure to reach out to me with your buying and selling needs, or even if you have any questions, you can contact me through my contacts down in the description box below. Make sure to check out the rest of my videos because I go around different suburbs, different neighborhoods and areas, and I really share with you what it's like living in these different cities.